Hey everyone, I got another neighborhood tour video. Today's video isn't going to be specifically a neighborhood, but rather East North Avenue, which is exactly what it sounds like, the eastern part of North Avenue. North Avenue is a major thoroughfare that runs east and west through the city. It's been, for decades, it's been sort of the center of culture and commerce and for a lot of these neighborhoods around it. So right now we just pulled up to North Avenue from North Washington Street, and we're getting ready to make a right onto North Avenue. One of the things about North Avenue is there's rough parts of it, but there's still some really remarkable architecture, like that school that we just passed. That's still there, and some of it's still in decent shape. But as you can also see, there's also a fair number of abandoned houses and things like that. So now we're headed east on North Avenue, and we're actually towards the eastern end of it already. It's like I said, it runs almost the whole width of the city of Baltimore, but this is just the eastern portion. I feel like there's enough going on North Avenue that it's worth splitting it up into a couple different videos to focus on specific parts of it. Now we're getting ready to make a left off of North Avenue. I'm going to loop around. This is into I guess it's probably considered technically South Clifton Park neighborhood. But the point of this turnoff was to go down Perlman Place, which is a sort of notorious street in East Baltimore. It was known for being high crime and lots of drug dealing and things like that. But the thing that's happened in the last 10 years or so is that it was completely demolished. There used to be the typical two-story Baltimore row houses, and around, I want to say about 10 years ago, they were all torn down. And that was sort of one of the first mass demolitions in Baltimore. Obviously, demolitions have been going on in Baltimore for 50 years, but this was one of the first ones. The pictures of Perlman Place were sort of, like I said, notorious, and when people would think of Baltimore as being a rough city, a lot of times they would you'd see pictures of Perlman Place. And that's what we're driving down right now. As you can see, there's nothing really remaining on it. All the houses are gone. There's some urban farms and some like little community gardens and things like that, but that's the extent of what's on Perlman Place. Now we're making a right back onto North Avenue, this time headed west. Now, as we were coming down Perlman Place, you may have noticed a tall, sort of ornate looking building off in the distance. From our vantage point now, it would be off to the left, but you can't quite see it. That was the old American Brewery building, and it was, for a long time, fell apart and was abandoned and, just a mess, but it was a neat old building with neat architecture. And about 10 years ago, it was renovated, and now it's used as office space. So this drive continues. We just passed Washington Street, which was that original cross street that we made the right onto North Avenue. Now we're up to Wolf Street, another fairly substantial north and south street. That one goes through Johns Hopkins, so that's sort of what that street's known for. As you can see off to the left, there's some pretty rough looking houses, lots of houses falling down and things like that. Now up on the left, coming up, you're going to see a large building. It used to be some kind of educational, I want to say it was like the school headquarters or something, but it's long been abandoned, and as you can see, it's in pretty bad shape. Now we're just crossing Broadway, which is another significant north and south street in East Baltimore. That one will go all the way down to the water, down to Fells Point and Broadway Market and places like that. So now this drive, we're continuing, passing Bond Street, another big north and south street that goes all the way down to Fells Point, and coming up on Harford Road here in a minute. Like you can see, there's definitely, this used to be a booming place just with all the neat architecture, but it's obviously, parts of it have fallen on hard times. Now we're crossing Harford Road, which heads out northeast out of the city, but we're going to continue on North Avenue. Now we're still probably technically in East Baltimore, but we're kind of approaching Central Baltimore. Few probably another minute or two, and we'll be crossing into more Central Baltimore. But as you can see, there's a lot of houses in pretty rough shape all along this stretch. Though that building right there to the right was recently renovated, and it's a drug rehabilitation center and community health clinic type place. To the left right now, you're passing Greenmount Cemetery, which is a very, very large cemetery that's in the middle of the city. And then the next street we'll be coming up on is Greenmount Avenue, which is sort of one of the north and south equivalents to North Avenue, in that it's a major north and south route that runs almost the whole length of the city. But that's what we're crossing right now. And now by crossing Greenmount, that's when you cross into basically the central part of the city out of East Baltimore. So now we're coming up on Station North, which this is becoming a much more affluent neighborhood. As you can see, a lot of these row houses, you don't have the same degree of vacancy and abandonedness and things like that. Off to the right, that ornate building is the current school headquarters building. They can't afford to teach kids how to read and write, but they can afford to have a building like that. So Baltimore currently ranks third in the country in spending per capita per student, and unfortunately they have one of the worst track records in educating their students. I think that's a topic for another day, but there's a lot that could be done to improve the Baltimore school system. Now we're firmly into Station North. We just passed the Parkway Theater. That was a recent renovation about 5 years ago. Now where I'm pulling over, right to the right of it, about a block over, I'm passing the same spot. So right to the right of this, about a block or two over, is the Baltimore's famous graffiti alley. This is not too far from the Micah Art School. So we're now continuing on past Maryland Avenue, and then once we go over this overpass, that's really when you start getting into West Baltimore. You leave the center part of the city, but this area is definitely known for its sort of artsy vibe, and it's kind of an interesting confluence of the different cultures in Baltimore. Now we're passing over some train tracks, and then we'll be passing underneath of the Jones Falls Expressway, which is I-83. That's what you can see just in front of us right now. To the left is the Bolton Hill neighborhood, and then to continue straight on North Avenue will take you into West Baltimore. So as this ride finishes up, we're headed towards West Baltimore. I'm gonna cut it off before we get into West Baltimore, because like I said, I think North Avenue is an interesting enough street to make a couple videos on. As you can see to the right, that's area slated for redevelopment. These open fields to the right are where some housing projects that used to be known as Murder Mall were. They've been torn down about 5 years ago, and now there's some plans in the works to redevelop them. But like I said, this is North Avenue, still headed west, and approaching West Baltimore, approaching the Penn North neighborhood, the intersections of Pennsylvania Avenue and North Avenue. But like I said, I'm going to go ahead and cut it off here. So thanks for watching. Let me know. I got some ideas for which neighborhoods I want to do next. A lot of it just based on what videos I already have. But if you want me to get out to other neighborhoods, let me know, and I'll see what I can do.